Who am I talking to today?
My name is Shimon Ungar. I own a plumbing showroom called Wave Home and Bath here in Lakewood.
One more time, Wave
Home and Bath.
Wave Home and Bath, right here in Lakewood. Okay, plumbing showroom, amazing. So we're here at Westwood, at the new office space in Lakewood, and you had a role in this building, correct?
Correct.
So let's start from that. Talk to me a little bit about what was your role here specifically.
So I came on a long time ago when they started the project, and they needed all the plumbing fixtures, so all the toilets and all the sinks and all the faucets and everything that was needed. And came on quite early and got things rolling, and that's basically what we had here.
So you do the installation, or you just sell the fixtures themselves and other people install them? How does that work?
We sell all the fixtures and the plumber installs everything. And we work very closely with the plumbers. Any issues, any concerns, any problems, we're there to help them through the whole process.
Very cool. So let me ask you this. I mean, this building is very particular. I've been interviewing a bunch of people today, and like everything here is to perfection. Everything here was designed, part of a vision and branding. When a project comes to you like that, and they have very specific vision in terms of fixtures, you're able to source for them. You have, what do you like? What's your range in terms of making stuff happen?
So it really depends what the project is and who's running the project and who's designing the project. Like here, the designer knew what he wants. Again, there were hiccups along the way, but they knew basically what they want, and we brought them what they need.
Okay. So you'll source for someone has an idea in his head, I want something that looks very modern and this and that. You'll find something and you'll make it happen. You design it, you actually design fixtures yourself as part of it, or you source it?
No, we don't design it. We sell product. We usually, again, there are some things that are out there that don't exist.
Right.
But AI creates a lot of things that don't.
I'm an AI artist. I love that stuff. Yeah.
That you can't even create. So that's impossible. But if something is possible, you can get it.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, and we're talking to business people today, especially people in Lakewood, about their business journey, how they ended up where they are today. And it's very interesting. A lot of people come from very different backgrounds. We spoke to someone who started off in a Dira in Eretz Yisrael, in the Mir, and ended up having a design company. The common denominator today actually happens to be Mir people. Did you go to the Mir by any chance? Are we going to get lucky?
Yes, I did.
Shimon, we're batting 1,000 over here. So today's theme is Mir business people and the businesses they built, and somehow they all come together in Westwood. I'm also a Mir Talmud. So when were you there?
I don't even remember, 12, 13 years ago.
12, 13 years. So you're a little bit after my time. And where did you learn? Which share?
I forgot already. The Rosh Yeshiva's son.
He gave a share, or it was a different Finkel?
Different Finkel.
Right. Not, I know what you're talking about. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so that's the common denominator today. If you want to be successful at business, go to the Mir. You learn something. So you're in the Mir, and at some point, give me a little bit of the story of how you got from a bacher in the Mir to having a plumbing showroom in Lakewood. And by the way, it's commercial, residential. Who do you sell to?
We do a lot of both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Give me a little bit about connecting those two dots, the background story.
Okay, so I'll tell you how it started was I got married and I was looking for a job. So there was a guy, I lived in Brooklyn, I lived in Borough Park. There was a guy in Williamsburg, a recruiter, and I went to him to see if he can offer me a job. So I sat with him like over an hour. We're sitting, and at the end of sitting with him, at the end of when we finished the whole discussion, he wanted to hear what I want and what I'm interested in, what I'm looking for. Because I don't know what I'm good at, I'm a young bucher out of yeshiva. I don't know what I need. And after sitting for an hour, he gave me a piece of paper, and he gave me 6 job opportunities. He gave me the pros and cons of each one, the hours of each one, the pay of each one, and I should make it in order of what I would want and down to the bottom. Ends up being, he offered me a job in a plumbing supply in Brooklyn. The chasudin was that it started 7:30 in the morning. And me, as a bucher at yeshiva, you have to daven in the morning.
Painful.
You have to do a lot of things in the morning, and then you have to be in work 7:30. So I rated that the bottom of the list. And Chef für Welt, and I ended up with that job, and that's how I got into the plumbing industry.
So what time do you wake up nowadays? How did that work out?
Usually like 6 o'clock.
Oh, wow. Okay. So listen, Parnas is not easy. You got to do what you got to do. 6 o'clock, wake up. Whew, one day. So that's what happened. So ended up picking that job, and you ended up working for somebody in Brooklyn?
Ended up working for somebody in Brooklyn
Okay.
for quite some time. And then when I moved to Lakewood, I wanted to try to stay in this industry. I know the industry. I know the ins and out of it. So there is one Yiddish heimische plumbing supply here in Lakewood. It's called Gator Plumbing Supply.
Okay.
They also supplied a lot of things here in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go for a job over there. I took a job. I ran their location for quite a few years, three and a half years. And then me, together with Gator, we went on the journey to open the plumbing showroom, Wave.
So this is a combined operation between you, like a partnership of some sort? How would you term it?
It's a branch of the plumbing supply.
Uh-huh.
Like the plumbing supply is made for contractors, plumbers, more commercial stuff like bulk and things, and then there's
This is the
the
showroom.
homeowners that want more attention and need more designer options, and it's a different business, but it's under one umbrella.
Uh-huh. Very cool. And how long have you been doing that for in terms of the showroom?
It's now going to be 2.5 years.
2.5 years. And you said it's both commercial and residential, right? You're doing buildings like this, and you're doing individual homes as
Correct.
well.
We're doing Lakewood, and we're doing.
Do you
Believe
have
it
a
or not,
preference? Do you like one over the other, or you're good with all?
I like personally the residential.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's a lot more tedious, and it's a lot more creativity than this.
Interesting.
Here I supply one item.
And it's
All the
universal through the
offices.
building.
Yeah.
Okay, but residential, you want to feel out with the homeowner what's going to make them comfortable in each environment in their house.
Every bathroom looks different in a private house, and in a space like this, everything is more or less the same.
It's copy and paste. You figure out
Correct.
one thing, and then you're going to paste it everywhere. Talk to me about the experience of running a showroom. Just practically, what does that mean? So you're there every single day. You're there 9 to 5. What do you do most of the day? You're doing sales. You're talking to people on the floor. What's it like?
Every day is something else. I don't know in the morning how the day is going to go. Again, I'm not in business for a lot of years, so I don't have the experience of structuring my day fully, but for the most part, I'm in the office. I deal with customers, I deal with vendors. Most of my time is probably consumed with problem solving, dealing with issues. When issues come up on a project or in a private house or whatever, somebody has a problem, plumber's on the job, he's missing this, missing that. How do we put it together? So I pride myself, our company, that I come from background, from plumbing, so I know what goes on behind the wall versus dafka what's outside the wall. Like it looks pretty and everything, but not always does pretty work as function. Sometimes there are functions that were put in before tiling that don't support a thing that the customer wants, and they don't know it, and we have to try to create it and figure it out. So that's probably what I do most of the day.
Very interesting. To me, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of businesses end up doing problem solving. I think you said it very well. A lot of the day is about putting out fires or solving problems or figuring out things, not necessarily something went wrong, but figuring stuff out. And sometimes you might feel like maybe there's something wrong with my business because why am I dealing with problems the entire day? Like we should be just dealing with cashing checks, right? And things should be running smoothly like a machine. But I think a lot of that is an illusion, and that's the nature of business. A lot of it is constant problem solving, and not to beat ourselves up when that happens, when we're working on developing a business. You're dealing directly with customers, correct?
Correct.
People are walking into your showroom, they want to buy things. So I want to talk to you, because I think you're very well positioned for customer relationships in terms of working with a customer. You're dealing also with something that's a very personal choice that I think can go through a lot of revisions or different directions. I like it, but now that I see it, I don't like it so much. That's a challenge. It's a challenge in almost every single business, and I think especially in home decorating, because a home is very personal. It's me. It's a self-expression, really, and you want to make sure it works out right. How do you walk people through that without going crazy?
So it's tough. It is tough, and every day is a challenge, and every customer is a challenge, and every customer is a project. It's not just about making the sale, making a quick buck, and out the door. It's not a gas station. You don't get gas and you pay and leave. It doesn't work that way. Everything is very personal. So the idea is, and how I train my salespeople to do it as well, is you get a vision of exactly what the customer wants and try to create it. Again, sometimes it's impossible and sometimes it's possible. And we try to get a feel of what's, obviously budget plays a big factor here, because at the end of the day, somebody coming from Brooklyn who outfitted 2 or 3 bathrooms in a house spent a lot more money. Here,
per fixture.
Exactly.
Right.
Here, you have to, for the same dollar amount that you're spending, you have to supply 7, 8 bathrooms in a house. So it's a lot different, and we have to be a lot more careful and cautious and price conscious to make sure that the customer stays within budget. And for the most part, people understand, but there are some people who don't understand. Why is it more expensive? My brother just built a house in Brooklyn, and his plumbing bill was only $40,000. Why is mine $65,000? It happens all the time.
Right.
So,
So you have to break it down and get people into reality on that.
correct.
How do you keep people excited? I find a lot of times when someone first comes into a project, right, or a customer, or even you're doing something for home decorating, it's very exciting in the beginning, you have a vision, and then, it takes time till things happen, and then sometimes the excitement dies down, and then things become complicated. I want it, I didn't want it. Do you have a technique, like how do you maintain the relationship from the beginning of the sale until it actually happens in real life? Does that make
My
sense?
humble opinion,
Okay.
construction is never exciting in the end.
But even for someone who's building their house, there's something exciting about it, at least the idea of it, I would assume. Like there's.
The idea is there, and people like it, and people like the thrill, but there are so many choices to be made that people lose their minds. I'll give you an example.
How do you do that? How do you get people? Yeah, give me an example.
I'll give you an example. I had a customer last week.
Okay.
They're building a house, and they wanna choose all the fixtures. Their mother came from the city to help the daughter choose all the fixtures. Fine, we're sitting there, and after a while, after like an hour and a half, they were literally, felt like she's breaking down. You go Meshiga, it's not, you sit there and you're choosing, and you're not done choosing. When you finally choose the fixture of the bathtub, you're not done, because it has to match the toilet, and it has to match the vanity, and it has to match the light fixtures, and everything has to come together. And in every item, there's multiple different options. Like you could choose a faucet, and then you have 4 options of handles. So it took you 45 minutes to choose the faucet, and then you have to go spend some more time and choose. So there's a lot of nitty gritty. When you get into construction, when you get into building, you start seeing that it's not just, oh, I saw that one had in that house, I'm going to copy it. It isn't, because you want to make it yours. You want to make it yours unique and your style and your preference. But it's a lot of back and forth, and it's a lot of choosing. There are people who hire designers, make it a lot easier. It's a lot easier. You hire an interior designer, they get your vision. You have to hire the right people, obviously, that understand your vision and try to stay within budget for you, and that takes off a huge amount of decision making and problems and issues. I deal with designers all the time. I get the information, I know what they need, I know their style already, and it's a lot easier and it's a lot smoother, the process, if you go with a designer.
So you think it's a good investment? Obviously, it depends on the budget, but if you can do it, you're going to get something. By going with the designer, it's not just a nicer house. The process is going to be a better process.
It's forget about the house.
Right.
Forget about the house. The process is a lot easier. You could choose. I'm just one niche part of the house. There's so many. There's lighting. There's flooring. There's furniture. It's endless. This is just one little amount. One little piece of it. A person that I know was building a house, and he was telling me how, he built this house and it's all nice, and at the end of the day, push comes to shove, at the end after construction, he's like, if you try to avoid it, avoid it. Walk down the block, see a house that you like, knock on the door, offer a few $100,000 more, and buy it.
And make it happen, right. I understand. But you provide, you're not just providing to new construction, you're providing to everybody. Obviously, people have houses as well, they're redoing or whatever it's necessary.
Right.
But the bottom line is, like you said, you're faced with so many different choices. It could be very overwhelming to a client in the beginning. You're walking into a showroom. what's the technique of dealing with people? Give me like personal relationship techniques. Is it just come down to patience? Is that all that it's about? How do you guide someone not to make themselves crazy and go around in circles, to make a good decision that they're going to feel good about? They're not going to walk out and have buyer's remorse.
So I try to give a pleasant experience, and I try not to overwhelm the customer. Like, I can offer you 200 different options, but I don't. I try to get your vision, break it down, narrow down to what you actually are interested in, and present to you those choices for the most part.
Okay, so narrowing down the selection, you're saying it's in the customer's best interest. It's not going to
Correct.
help you to go through 200 possibilities. And then once a person makes their choice, you help them make their choice. You help them feel confident about it, feel comfortable that this is going to feel good. You're going to feel good about this. You do some sharing, some coaching, sharing to get them through it, or that's it. Most people they manage it.
No, I try to encourage it, that they made a good decision, they made the right decision, and there are always people asking, what did this one do, what did that one do, how does this designer do it, how does that designer do it? So we don't give out to tell everybody what everybody does, but we try to make you feel confident that you made the right choice, and if that's your taste, then that's really where you want to be. So,
is there anything really cool happening in plumbing fixtures or bathroom fixtures or sinks? Anything like novel or just trending or edgy right now in the field that you know of?
every day something else.
Yeah, how many different ways are there to make a sink? I mean, I guess there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different sinks, but like I've seen one where where like the water runs down this sort of like a pipe, right? That one you've seen around. Anything different or like lately something interesting that's been popping up or people are doing?
There are faucets coming from the ceiling versus the
sink?
the deck, or even the wall. Wall is very popular now, coming from the wall. But that's been around for a long time. But coming from the ceiling is very popular now in a sink.
That means a long pipe coming down from the ceiling,
A
like a
long
sprinkler?
decorative piece coming down from the ceiling.
Interesting.
And the knob could be on the counter, could be on the wall, could be really anywhere. That's very popular, meaning that's trending right now.
Okay.
Smart toilets is trending right now.
Interesting.
Shabbos
what does that mean?
Shabbos is an issue, but
It means it flushes itself?
you
more
can
than
do
that?
everything from your phone.
You could
Today.
flush the toilet from your phone?
You could play music on your toilet. You could flush it from your phone. It has a bidet installed.
Okay.
You name it.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. They come with screens? You get screens on your... I saw one model that has like a fishing tank in the... Have you seen the fish tank?
I don't know how real it
Fishing
is.
tank. No? Oh, you think it's fake? You think
I
it's
don't
AI?
know. I was by the show.
It was pretty cool.
I haven't seen it.
It was pretty cool. That was one of the cooler ones that I've seen. I used to work with a client that did a lot of cost savings, like water conservation toilets across multifamily spaces and things like that. Does that come up also in terms of conserving water or water conservation? That's not a huge factor when you're talking about redecorating today.
So customers aren't requesting it. The
Okay.
problem is that the government is requesting it.
So you don't really have a choice, technically.
So certain times we don't have a choice, and certain people want certain things. Like the flow is a lot less than it was, and it
Right.
keeps on getting less and less. And sometimes it's difficult to get. There are some companies that won't ship to certain states because of it. So we ship it elsewhere and bring it in so we can have it for the
To make it
customer.
happen. Right. Very cool. Okay, so at this point you're saying you have your own business, you have a partnership in a business. How would you qualify it?
I have a partnership in the business.
You have a partnership in your business. What are some of the tough parts? I mean, that's just a general question, right? I feel like a business is an exercise in emunah b'tachon for everybody, for anyone. You can't not, I don't know anyone who just took off like a rocket ship and went, went to the moon. Everyone has ups and downs. Everyone has challenges. What do you see in terms of your background, in terms of Yiddishkeit and your learning and application in real life in terms of business? Could you get into that? Are you comfortable getting into
In
that?
what aspect?
In terms of like applying the things that we learn in yeshiva to real life when we're actually stuck in hard situations, in terms of davening, in terms of emunah, in terms of talking to, I don't know, like what works for you? What works for you to get you through the ups and downs of business?
So you have to, again, Yiddishkeit is Yiddishkeit, and you have to believe, and everyone has their derech, their path, and what they think what they feel is important for them. Like davening with a minyan is very important. It plays a big role in business. If people don't daven with a minyan, for whatever reason, you see it in the business.
Mm.
It's a real thing. And when you own a business and you see everything, you see the books, you see everything. It's not like you work in a 9-to-5 job and you get your paycheck and you're besimcha. Like your belief is a lot less. Could be a lot less
Right.
because of it. But if you own your business and you see every single month a different story, how you made things happen, especially at the beginning when you're grinding every dollar, you're stretching 17 ways. It's tough. And if you see it, you can't. I don't know why. I don't know. People tell me like, oh, you see stories, you can't miss it. It's in front of you. You have payroll due, you have expenses due, and for whatever reason, some customer from 8 months ago decided that he wants to deliver and he's paying you up. Always something else.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just in terms of, I think I could say from my experience, and I think most of the people I talk to, it's not. I know there's different ways of looking at this, but I feel like it's not pidarach teva. There's no teva in business. I don't know if that's hashkafically the right way to put things, but to me, it's not, and it's. Yeah, I think I see it. I mean, it's just something. I told someone from the last podcast, I've said this a couple of times, that to me there's 3 big musas in life. There's b'silas Hashem, marriage, and opening your own business. Those are the 3 things that are going to teach you, whether you like it or not, what's real and what's not. You don't really have a way around it. You have to deal with, support a family, and you have to do these types of things. It comes into play. My experience is
let me stop you over there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everyone has to know this, and it's a thing that every person, forget about the Yid, the Goy, everyone should know this, that the Bashefer has enough. It's not like he took away, that one took away, the Bashefer has enough for everybody. You just have to open your hands, open your heart, and go for it, and it'll make it happen.
Right. It's interesting because I was recently, there's a Gemara that says, Ein malchus achas negas bechaveto kemali nima. That one malchus, one government, does not overlap with the next government, even a hair's breadth. And I was thinking about it recently with what happened in the politics, and Kamala is taking over from Biden. We're getting a little political here, but in recent events, and I was thinking Kamala Nima. I was like Kamala Nima. That was my little chap over there. But anyway, I looked up the Gemara because I wanted to see it more clearly, and then the Gemara also talks about the idea that one business does not take away from another business. There's no such concept that this guy won the bid and I lost, really, in this hashkafa. If you didn't win the bid because there's a different bid or there's something else or that wasn't for you, but it's not a zero-sum game. It's not like you said, there's only one pot and whoever chaps first and more viciously is going to be the one to win. And it's not always easy, at least I could talk personally, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's hard to feel that way. But that's the reality and something to work on, I think, when we're working on our business.
It's a lot easier if you pick up your hands and you let it happen, and then it's a lot easier to eat it.
But but then there's like, what's hishtadlus? So maybe I shouldn't be working so hard, I should, how do you balance that? You ever struggle with that? Figuring out like what's real hishtadlus and where am I doing overkill here, and maybe doing things that time I should be spending with my family or time I should be spending learning or just being normal or healthy, and I'm just pushing it because of my own insecurity. You ever get that sometimes? Or maybe it's just me?
A lot of people get that, and I hear it a lot. I personally don't get it because
Okay.
I try to be very strict. Like, hishtadlus is 9 to 5. And there's sometimes you can log in at night and do certain things, but for the most part, it's work hours. And like Satmar Rebbe said all the years, Gimel B'Shalach, he say Parsh Saman. It only works till 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, you have to go work. You can't do that later in the day. You have to work. You have to do your hishtadlus. By me, Friday, chatzos is chatzos. There's nothing. You can't call me. If I had a customer call me one Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's a problem. I said, if you're not telling me a shtickle toyer on the parsha, don't talk to me. This is it. Because I could work, and what does it help me? It doesn't say more hishtadlus brings you more. It says you have to do a hishtadlus. Hishtadlus is the norm. The norm is regularly 9 to 5. So I try to stick to that, and I don't find it hard. People tell me that it's a challenge.
But
And
even in the beginning of the business, because I find that once the business is more developed, it's easier. But in the beginning, like you said, those first couple of years, you're grinding so hard. You were 9 to 5. You were strict from day one.
yes.
Really?
And
Wow.
I think
Okay.
it's very,
Gotta give you
because
props.
again, it's not
Okay.
the 5 to 9. It's not like I was sitting on the couch. There are other things to do. You have to learn. You have to daven. You have to eat. You have to be a yid. So it's not just about the 9 to 5. I could work till 12 o'clock at night and not daven with a minyan or whatever the case is. So you're compromising elsewhere. So 9 to 5 grinding, you could grind 9 to 5 if you don't play with your phone and you don't get distracted from 20,000 other things. You can hustle 9 to 5. It doesn't
Except for the Westwood status, which you should still watch. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Unless you're wasting your time. Hustling doesn't mean after hours. That's not the definition of hustling. People think it is, unfortunately. But
Okay.
I believe, my personal belief is, hustle is work. Be active
Focus.
when you're working. Be
Be
focused, be driven, and I don't see I don't struggle with that. No,
That's interesting. I think it's exceptional. I'm just going to tell you honestly, based on, unless I'm the exception, but and everyone's different. Everyone has a different personality. But I think it's hard, especially the first couple of years. It's definitely a big temptation, I think, for many people.
It's hard.
hard to
It's not like I
say,
didn't
'cause
struggle.
yeah.
It's not like I didn't struggle thinking about the business and worrying and concern and everything. But there are only certain amount of things I can do, because after hours, the vendors are also closed. I can't do much. I tried,
worry,
but
right.
you could worry. So that I did. Worry I did. That
Worry
you don't
you
have to
did.
worry about.
Right. I hear you.
So
Okay, that's amazing to hear. What do you see now? Because you're dealing with something that's universal throughout the community, throughout the Lakewood community, especially commercial buildings. What's your feeling in terms of business right now in Lakewood? Some people say there's a slowdown. Some people saying it's starting to come back. Do you have any feelings on this?
as we're doing this interview now,
Right.
I feel there's a slowdown in the business. It's not a question.
Okay.
And not just
Compared to what?
compared to a year ago.
Okay.
Not compared to any other market, because there are other markets that are also, my vendors are not necessarily all Yidden. They're not dafka the Yiddish area. The
Right.
salespeople that come into my office that sell me product sell in different states and all over the place. And officially there's technically a slowdown. But then again,
Right. And
Okay.
we're July 2024, if anyone's interested. Okay, yeah.
But then again, if you're Yid, you believe, and it comes from somewhere else. No, it's unpredictable.
Do you find that you adjust your business when there's a slowdown? How do you deal with that? So are you cost cutting? Are you like, how do you deal with the reality of you have a payroll and things come and go, cash flow? Do you have an approach to this? Is there other things you could share?
I don't have a particular approach. Again, business is business, and the world of business, it's a world of business. Every business it sells different products, but on a whole, a business is a business. Cut your costs as much as you can. And what I did, I tried to cut my costs, I tried to cut my payroll, I tried to do whatever I can to minimize the cost. And even my stock used to be a lot better. I brought down my stock a little. Again, I still have stock and I still have enough of everything, but I brought it down to a degree that it's not overstocked like it was after COVID.
I told someone that I think there was post-COVID that tkufa, I'd say, like at the end of COVID, not since Bizas Hayam, not since Kriyas Yamsuf and the Jewish people. That's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? That happens once every 3,000 years. So you can't build your business with that expectation.
People think it's the norm, and people
Right.
people expect that. Why don't I have? All of a sudden, I don't have. I'm without a job or whatever. It's unfortunately, we get used to it.
Right. Okay. Amazing talking with you today. I really appreciate it. And one more time, your name and business is?
Shimon Ungar, Wave Home and Bath.
Okay. Incredible. Thank you so much for coming on.